I am 85 years old. I have built an empire from the dirt up, sweating and bleeding for every single dollar, so my family would never have to know the cold grip of poverty. I am going to tell you something today that every financial planner, every modern parenting expert, and probably your own wife will beg you not to listen to. They will say it is cruel. Look closely at my hands. The knuckles are permanently swollen. The skin is like old parchment. I still remember the sharp smell of burning engine oil from my first rundown garage in 1968, the bitter taste of stale coffee at 3 a.m. I traded my youth to buy a fortress of comfort. But last Tuesday, I sat completely alone in this silent, oak-paneled study, listening to the heavy ticking of that grandfather clock. My phone hadn't rung in weeks. I held my finalized will in these shaking hands, and my 3 biological children, the ones I worked myself half to death for, are getting absolutely nothing, not a single cent. Don't scroll away. Don't you dare swipe past this, because what I am about to tell you is the exact reason why you need to stop destroying your own kids with your wallet before it is too late. I need to take you back to the winter of 1974. I was 33 years old, wearing work boots with holes worn straight through the soles. I was standing in the freezing rain, waiting for a bus because my rusted-out truck had died for the 3rd time that month. I remember the biting cold seeping through my cheap, thin coat, but worse than the cold, I remember the hollow, burning ache in my stomach, not because I was starving, but because I had a young wife and a 2-year-old son waiting in a freezing apartment, and I had exactly $12 to my name. It was in that freezing rain, shivering like a beaten stray dog, that I made a vow, a poison disguised as a promise. I looked up at the gray sky and swore, my children will never feel this. They will never know the humiliation of being poor. I will build a wall of money so high that hardship can never, ever touch them. And I did. I built that wall, brick by brutal, blood-stained brick. But here is the profound tragedy of building a fortress. It keeps the pain out, yes, but it also locks you in. I became a machine, a provider, a phantom in an expensive suit who only appeared at the dinner table long enough to pay the bills before retreating to my office. I remember a Tuesday evening in the summer of 1982. The heavy, nostalgic smell of burnt grass hung in the humid air from a neighbor's lawnmower. My son, David, was playing in his first Little League championship game. I had the car keys in my hand. I was at the door. Then the phone rang. It was a supplier, a massive contract, a deal that would secure another $1 million. I stood there, smelling that cut grass, listening to my wife wait in the driveway, and I chose the phone. I stood by the window, watching them drive away without me, telling myself, I am doing this for them. I lied. It was for me. It was for my ego. There are certain sounds that haunt a man when he gets to my age. Not the loud, explosive arguments. No, it's the quiet sounds. The sounds of things breaking silently. I remember sitting in this very study, the door firmly shut, drowning in balance sheets. I heard the soft, hesitant patter of my 7-year-old daughter's socks on the hardwood floor. She stopped right outside my door. I saw the shadow of her small feet blocking the strip of light under the door frame. She stood there for 2 full minutes, 2 entire minutes. Holding a drawing she made maybe, or just wanting to say goodnight. I didn't call out. I didn't open the door. I just held my breath, annoyed at the potential interruption. Eventually the shadow moved away. The soft footsteps retreated into the dark. I bought her a damn pony that Christmas to make up for it. A pony. Instead of just opening a door. When you replace your presents with presents, you slowly rot their souls. I saw the rot happen, and I did nothing. The exact moment I knew I had failed as a father wasn't when they got bad grades. It was the day my eldest turned 18. I bought him a brand new car, handed him the keys, expecting to see the fire, the tearful gratitude I would have felt. He took the keys, barely looked at the machine, and his first words were, "Does it have the upgraded leather interior?" He didn't look at me. The hunger was dead. I had fed them so much rich food that they forgot how to chew. I created soft, weak, entitled creatures, and God forgive me, I called it love. Fast forward to today. Look at me now. I live in a fortress of stone and glass, a house with 12 bedrooms that have been perfectly empty for a decade. I sit at this massive mahogany dining table, built for 20 people, eating a piece of dry toast in absolute suffocating silence. The only sounds in my life now are the mechanical hum of the refrigerator and the drone of a television playing to an empty room. This is the empire I traded my soul to build. And then, a sound breaks the silence. Last Thursday night, my phone actually lit up. A text message. I felt a pathetic little skip in my chest. You know that feeling, don't you? When you get to my age, a glowing screen feels like proof that you still exist in someone's world. I fumbled with my reading glasses, my stiff fingers tapping the glass. It was my youngest daughter. She is 42 years old. 42. The message didn't say, "How is your arthritis, Dad?" or "Did you eat today?" No. It was a screenshot of an overdrawn bank account, followed by a long paragraph complaining that her boss was too toxic and she had quit her job. Again. She needed a bridge loan. Again. And I see you out there. You men in your late 40s, your 50s, your 60s. You are watching this on your screens, and you are doing the exact same damn thing right now. I see you paying off your 30-year-old son's credit card debt because you don't want his credit score to take a hit. I see you letting your grown children move back into your house, eating your food, using your electricity, because the real world is simply too harsh for them. You cover their rent. You buy them the house down the street. You pull strings to get them jobs they haven't earned. You think you are saving them. You think you are being a good, protective father. Let me tell you from the end of the road what you are actually doing. You are holding their heads completely underwater while lying to yourself that you are teaching them how to swim. You are castrating their instinct to survive. This isolation I feel, this crushing, suffocating loneliness, it isn't because they don't love me. It is because I made myself a walking ATM machine instead of a father. They don't call me because they miss me. They call me when they run out of the comfort I addicted them to. I bought their weakness and I paid for it with my own isolation. Listen to me very carefully. The hardest thing for a man to look at in the mirror isn't his wrinkles or his failing eyesight. It is his own ego. And the male ego, particularly the ego of a father, is a master of disguise. We wrap our pride in the noble cloak of providing. We convince ourselves that bleeding for the dollar is the ultimate sacrifice. We beat our chests and say, "Look at the house I bought. Look at the tuition I paid. Look at the trust fund I set up." But if we strip away the bullshit, if we are violently honest with ourselves in the dead of night, who are we really doing it for? We do it because it makes us feel like kings. We do it to buy our own peace of mind and to silently apologize for not being there when they took their first steps. We use our wallets as a shield against our own guilt. Money equals safety. Safety equals love. That is the great toxic lie of the modern American dream. Because here is the brutal reality of the universe. The world out there, beyond your gated communities and your air-conditioned SUVs, it does not care about your child. It is a meat grinder. It is a storm of failure, betrayal, and absolute ruthlessness. Think about a great oak tree. A tree that grows inside a climate-controlled greenhouse never has to fight for sunlight. It never has to dig its roots deep into the rocky soil to find water. It grows tall, yes. It looks green and healthy, but its core is soft. It is fragile. The moment the glass shatters, and gentlemen, the glass always shatters eventually, the very first winter storm will snap it in half. By giving my children everything they ever pointed at, I stole their struggle. I robbed them of the very friction required to build a spine, to forge character, to become resilient human beings. I thought I was protecting them from the storm. I didn't. I just made them utterly defenseless against it. And why do we men only realize this when our hair is white and our bones ache? Because when you are in your 40s, the deafening roar of your ambition drowns out the quiet sound of their spirits softening. It is only when the engines finally stop, when you are 85, sitting in a silent room with nothing but your memories, that the absolute truth deafens you. True love isn't giving them the world. True love is making them strong enough to carry it. So, how do you fix it? You, the man in his 50s, sitting in his expensive car, dreading the next text message asking for a bailout. How do you undo decades of soft parenting? You do it with 3 brutal, necessary acts of love. First, you close the bank, completely and permanently. Tomorrow morning, you sit them down at the kitchen table, not over a fancy dinner you paid for, at the bare kitchen table. You look them in the eye and you say, "I love you too much to keep financing your weakness." You cut off the credit cards. You stop paying the car insurance. You cancel the cell phone plan. It will be ugly. They will scream. They will throw tantrums. They will call you a monster. Let them. A temporary villain in their story is better than a lifelong enabler. Second, you step back and you let them hit the concrete. When the landlord hands them an eviction notice because they quit their job over a bruised ego, you do not offer your guest room. When their car breaks down on the highway at midnight, you do not call the tow truck. You let them walk in the freezing rain. Let them feel the biting cold, just like I did in 1974. Pain is the greatest instructor a man can have. Do not steal their tuition. Third, you give them your scars, not your wallet. From now on, when they come to you with a crisis, you offer them a black coffee, a hard chair, and the truth. You tell them how you survived your own failures. You offer guidance, but you do not, under any circumstances, offer a lifeline. The withdrawal will be agonizing. I will not lie to you. You will lose sleep. Your wife might weep. Your chest will ache with the deeply ingrained primal instinct to just write the damn check and make the tension disappear. But you must stand firm. You must become the immovable rock. My will remains locked in the safe. The millions I bled for will go to a foundation, to kids who are already out there fighting the storm, who just need a pair of boots. My own flesh and blood will get 0. They resent me right now. They don't visit. And sitting in this empty, echoing house, it breaks an old man's heart. But for the first time in my life, I am giving them the only thing that actually matters. I am forcing them to survive. Be a father, gentlemen, not a bank account. Throw them into the storm and watch them learn how to walk through it. The storm is the gift.